All righty, Ms. Deidra. It has been lovely chatting with you. We chatted a little bit off screen here. We discussed the role itself, the duties it entails, and a little bit about your professional experience. But Deidra, I would love for you to jumpstart this interview and tell me a little bit about your professional experience.
I my last job I work in a doctor's lag office as an orthodontist. I was in charge of scheduling, payments, a little bit of everything pretty much. When it came to insurances, receiving merchandise and stuff like that. I was there, it was a temporary job. I was there about 8 months. Then my previous that was Express Spot. I don't know if you heard of it. It's on the MCO airport. It's only located in airports. I worked there for, like I said, almost 8 years. I was assistant manager there, and we did a lot of inventories, scheduling, receiving merchandise, ordering stuff. So, customer service super important. We work with a lot of people coming from in and out from different places. So that's
Yeah,
the main one, and the fact that I was there for pretty long. So I had a good experience though. I'm
yeah,
great with the customer service, so
that's
helped me a lot.
amazing. You worked in a few roles. So you've worked as, your assistant manager from what I see in your resume here at Cricket Wireless. You've worked
Yes.
as a coordinating manager at the Express Bar. You were there for 6 years or a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then you just completed a temporary role, which was a
Hmm.
reception coordinator. So you had a
Correct.
lot of customer-based interactions, in
Yes.
person, over the phone, emails.
Do
Um,
everything. Yeah.
so well-rounded when it comes to customer service, over 15 years at that with customer service.
More. A little more. So yes.
Yeah, beautiful. Well, Deidre, I would love to know, right? Because you've been in customer service for a while now. So what does customer service mean to you ultimately?
To me, it's more as creating a personal relationship with them, getting to know them and their needs, and try to make them very comfortable, and so they can trust you, so you can serve them with whatever you do. So
Absolutely. Completely agree. It's being a consultant to our customer
it
as
is
well as our client, our own client as well.
definitely.
So that's awesome in itself. Now, I'm sure that with your roles, you had to work with a lot of systems as well, especially with communications, in email. But what are some systems that you have utilized or some systems that you're familiar with?
We use like systems Shopify. We for the we changed a few times on the Express bar. I can't remember exactly the names,
Mhm.
but it's called, and it's another one called Rhino. Oh my god,
Yeah.
it's a
How
few.
about you've used a few, right? So what about, your familiarity when it comes to Excel or spreadsheets,
Yes.
email,
Oh yeah,
Outlook? Have you used that?
the Google Docs, all that stuff. Yes, definitely.
Awesome, awesome. Now you were doing a lot of coordinating in your previous roles. Tell me a little bit about, what those roles entailed. What were you doing on a daily basis so I can know a little bit more about your professional background?
Coordinating pretty much was just making sure that everything was in track. Employees were doing what they need to do. Um, that we had everything in place and whatever we need at the moment, even though in the long run, let's say like later on, pretty much coordinating everything that we
Yeah.
needed to get done. So
That sounds amazing. And you worked as a coordinating manager, so I'm sure that you had to deal with a few of escalated situations. So, how were you able to handle those escalated situations?
I actually didn't have a lot of issues with that. I really got to know the people I work with, and even when it came to customer service, I'm a very patient person, so I talk a lot, get to know them, try to please them, try to make sure that they're happy with whatever the service or you know they need.
Yeah.
So that's what, but really never had no really crazy situation. So
Okay.
thankful. for
Yeah,
that.
well,
So
I'm happy to hear that. I'm happy to hear you have to deal with those escalated situations, but with your background in customer service, I'm sure that you would know how to handle that
no,
situation if
definitely.
it
I believe
arises.
it's all about communication and
Mhm.
understanding. So, as long as you're communicating and understanding the other side of, so that's pretty much what helped me get through all
Yeah.
that stuff. So,
Amazing. And with that, our days can be very busy day to day. How are you able to keep yourself organized, maintain your priorities? Tell me about that.
um, I guess I have really bad OCD. So I'm a very organized person. I always keep track of my stuff, make sure everything is organized so it's in and out. I have no problem with that.
Yeah. And did you use like a notebook that you have your Excel
I
spreadsheets?
got
How did
everything. I
you?
write everything down. Everything
Okay.
that I do, I like to keep track of all my stuff, notes to make sure that I know exactly what I'm doing. Try to learn it. If I don't remember, I go back to my notes to make sure that I'm doing what I have to do. So
Awesome. Alrighty. And when are you looking to start a new role, Deidra?
I'm sorry.
When are you looking to start a new role? How soon would you be able to start a new role?
Tomorrow.
All right. And
Yeah,
all
pretty
right. And
soon. Pretty soon. So
okay, so you're looking to start as soon as possible from what
correct.
you've mentioned. Now, if my client wants to proceed with whether it's a virtual interview or a in-person interview, what would your availability look like?
Right now I'm not working, so I'm available Monday through Friday. You know, unless they work Saturdays, Sundays. So, but yeah, I'm
Awesome.
open at this moment.
All right. Well, that sounds perfect, Deidra. Now, I'm going to go ahead and stop this recording.
Okay.
It's been great chatting with you, getting
Thank you
to know
so
your professional
much.
experience. You're very welcome.
Thank you so
But
much for
don't
your
hang.
time.
You're welcome. Don't hang up on me quite yet. I want to continue chatting with you really quick.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you.